Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian Farmer's Tribeca at Trade Group, and this is your end-of-day market recap for Monday, February 3rd. Welcome to Trade Wars. Trade talks are going well. So we're back in, I guess, trade war territory. This is something that if you traded through the first Trump administration, you're probably a little bit familiar with. Uh, so we have some uncertainty on the tape today, so I will mention that word a couple times during this video. First things first, everything that we're going through is for information purpose only, not giving any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for information purpose only. Please read the full risk disclaimer right there. You can see that we've got a lot of green on the screen and a lot of red. So we had a gap down, but the gap down was bought. And it's basically, I would say, a bounce from the gap down, because I don't know if we really reclaimed a lot of upside territory, but we did have a nice tradable bounce for the day. So I will talk a little bit about what my game plan was for the day, and kind of where we are at this point. Palantir had some real nice earnings there, and they beat expectations. They got a nice move here. And I think the implied move, what the market makers were implying, was about 94, 95. So stock is moving right there. I did put on a trade for this. I put on a call fly because the implied move was fairly large. They were expecting about a 13.5% move. Hold on one second. Speaking of trade talks, I think this call with Trump and Trudeau just ended, and Trump said that the call went well. So I don't know. We'll have to. I think futures has moved up a little bit on that, but that's where we are right now. We're in a headline-driven market, and for now, we're moving in a range, and the positives that we have, I would say, of this market is that we've got some good earnings stories out, and I've been compiling my earnings list of names that are beating earnings and having a good reaction to it, and I've got about 40 names on that list. Probably Palantir will be another name. So let's just make sure I've got the wrong thing here. I think let's bring up SPY, and there we go. So that's the positive. For now, we're in this headline tape, and I think my experience from the last Trump administration is the longer that the trade talks or tariffs go on for, the more damage it does to the market. Why do I think that? Because the market is often, it's a game of confidence. So when you have confidence, you invest. When you don't have confidence, you begin to maybe take money out of the market. For now, we closed right around the 50-day moving average, and this has been a very sideways market over the last month and a half, and back and forth. I was making jokes earlier on X, Twitter, as you call it, that this is kind of a market of chutes and ladders, where we go up and then all of a sudden we come back down. And I think you just have to be cognizant of this market right now, that selling into strength has what's really worked over the last month and a half, because we're not trending. And I think I showed this in like Friday's video, but we're not doing this type of thing anymore. We're not trending above the 5-period moving average. So in my opinion, you have to adjust to what the market is doing and change your strategy a little bit. So for now, let's just talk about the technicals here in S&P. We have a new value area for the month of February, and we're almost in the middle of it. And again, when we're inside value, it means that we're moving in a range. When we're moving above, we're breaking out. When we're moving below, we're breaking down. So we started the month right inside this February value area, and right at the 50-day moving average. Those would be a couple things to watch. Also, I would pay attention to this bottom of the value area for the week, to a lesser extent, because this is short-term stuff. But watch this 598.53 level and see if we can build off of that. The Qs, and by the way, we could look at the just to go back here to the performance, but what rallied the most? So actually the micro caps rallied the most. Now they were down the most, so they still finished down 1.4%. The Qs rallied about 1% off the open, and S&P rallied off the open about 0.9 of a percentage point, still to finish down on the day. And again, you could see a lot of things that finished red red on the day, but a lot of things came back quite nicely too. So um, that's the S&P. Let's do the same exercise for the Qs because again, it's the first trading day of the month and you've got a new value area. So this is also boom, right inside the value area for February, so range bound. And also my eyes were going right to the 50-day moving average. So right into here. And a reminder that we're going to have a couple big earnings reports coming up. Google after the close tomorrow. And I think is Amazon after the close tomorrow. Let's see. Amazon. And I will zoom this in. No, Amazon's later in the week, but there's a lot of names that are reporting earnings this week. But Amazon is this week, but just that's later. I think that's Thursday. So that will also dictate where this market ends up going. Let's just go through IWM really quick too. IWM took out this lower VPOC. That's the value that was the point of control from last month. There was no overlap between the value area for February and this point of control. So hence virgin point of control. And we did tag that and rebounded. However, the technical picture, still remains very sideways. This had multiple chances, even on Friday, to get above this 50-day moving average, which would have been a positive development, and it did not get above there. So not great. But you've got tradable, you've got tradable days like you had today. Things that did pretty well today. There's, a couple areas. My game plan coming into today was to go after things that I thought were not as trade sensitive. It's funny because we went through this not same, similar gap down last Monday, and the eye of the storm then right in the center of the storm was Nvidia. And I didn't trade Nvidia because I just thought there's plenty of things that are going to be down in sympathy. Why go to the more difficult thing? Why not go to something? Because basically what happens, and Nvidia did break the lows again, and is at this version point of control. But my point is, it's when there's bad news on the tape, what can often happen is a shoot first and then look later. Get out of things, gap down on things, but some things are going to recover quite well. So what did I do today? I added to I wanted to add to a couple of positions that I'm already in, but IBKR is one of those names, and I very much will stick to my playbook of going after strong earnings names, things that I feel most confident about. I made this statement earlier, but if a couple of things if you were holding some risk into today and you didn't feel comfortable buying the dip in that name today or adding to it, then it's probably that's a lower conviction name that you have in your portfolio, and you might want to consider taking it off. But if you viewed the gap down today as a buying opportunity in a couple names that you have higher conviction, those are names that you probably want to stick with for a bit, as long as they're acting well and everything else. But that's the way that you can kind of help yourself a little bit with what you're doing. So I view IBKR as a name that could be a possible leader. It had really good earnings, really nice breakout. Meta was one of the first names too that went green on the day. Went green on the day very early, outside of everything else, especially in this group. And so I bought Meta today. And out of this group, you could see, Meta was the standout. It finished up 1.2%. The only other name, which was on our watch list this weekend, was Netflix, because I thought that one would be okay as well in today's market, but it would gap down. It didn't recover as much. It went up about 0.6 of a percentage point, but it was really Meta. So Meta wasn't my plan to go after that name, but I just noticed that it had strength. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good and nice earnings reaction too, and very close to new highs. A couple other names that acted really well was Costco. I think Costco had the added kicker today that they are not, their workers had the possibility that they were going to strike, and they didn't. So Costco acted well. We know Walmart's been acting really well. So again, the dip gets bought in some of these names that are a little bit more conservative, which I view Walmart as. Costco maybe not as much because it is a bit more of an expensive name. And then I really like what the IT companies are doing, and we're going to get another one of these names that's going to report tomorrow. But IT services, you can't really tariff that either. So no surprise that this came back and finished in the green today. Uh, Another one is good that's going to report tomorrow morning is IT. This is a really tough name to trade because it's very high priced and the options are extremely wide, but that's another name that I'll be watching in this IT space as well. And then there's some various, there's some good stories like Oklo finished at new highs. This is a very volatile name, but it's been pretty darn strong. G not GEV, but sorry, I got the TEM is the name that I'm thinking of. Also did very well and came all the way back. I mean, this is another one where opened up around 53 and look at the range that this thing had. So again, you can't trade every one. I traded a couple of these, but that's a story there. Another one that I'll kind of leave you with is you got to like look at some of these things that are a little bit more conservative. This is Welltower. This is a name that we saw option activity in again about 2 weeks ago. And look at the nice cup and handle right here. So I actually added this to the TTG trend portfolio today. This looks pretty good. A few other names that I was watching today. Again, I don't think they did anything spectacular, but they had a nice rally. I would watch. This is the fourth inside day in a row for CrowdStrike, so I think this is also one to pay attention to. Um, what else? I'll even show you our watch list and you can kind of see. But obviously there's a lot of names that did well. I really tried to kind of diversify this one a bit. You could see I even included, which I normally don't, included a couple names that I already own, like the IBKR. I said I already have a position on. Same thing with ACN. That one I did not add to because again, you can't add to everything. But you had some good names here. Here's Palantir, which I noted that the chart looks very good. Dash also looks very good. It also made nice new high there. I didn't put Reddit on the list because Reddit's an expensive name, but Reddit, the dip was bought there too. So I think that also did pretty well. And by the way, you can get the watch list and you can get all the charts. And I not only provide the watch list, but I provide all the charts that I provide them all in the charts channel. So if we go through here. Oops, looks like I put something in the wrong channel there. But I go through each one of these and each setup that goes on the watch list. What else? I mentioned the IBKR, which I think that one did the best. SIBO, right? Which is again other names that do well in a higher volatility or higher volatile tape. Notice what this one did. A nice little consolidation there at the top of the value area. So again, there's trades. There are definitely trades out there that are working. But I think overall you just have to recognize right now what the tape is, which is very sideways, and it's a very headline driven for now. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.